Chapter 38. Gong. Tyler jolted awake, his body tensing before he realized where he was. The deep, echoing sound of the Addams family's bell vibrated through the walls, rattling his still half-asleep brain. He blinked, adjusting to the dim light of the room, the fireplace now reduced to smoldering embers. Something cold shifted beside him. He turned his head slightly and saw Wednesday, lying still as stone, her dark eyes already open and staring at him. She had not moved an inch from where they had fallen asleep. "Morning," he murmured, voice rough. "It is," she confirmed, as if stating a fact rather than greeting him. Tyler exhaled, running a hand down his face. Last night's thoughts weighed on him, but there was no more uncertainty. He had made his choice. "I'm not inviting him," he said, voice resolute. Wednesday studied him for a moment, as if assessing whether he meant it. Then she gave a single nod. "Good. He does not deserve the privilege." Tyler let out a small chuckle. "You make it sound like Christmas at the Addams mansion is some kind of grand honor." "It is," she said, deadly serious. He huffed, shaking his head as he sat up. "Guess I better go make it official before your mother starts sending out invitations." Breakfast and the announcement. As always, breakfast at the Addams mansion was anything but normal. The long, Gothic dining table was filled with an assortment of foods Tyler had long since stopped questioning. Gomez and Morticia sat at the head, sipping from ornate goblets that he really hoped contained nothing sinister. Pugsley was already halfway through what looked like some kind of roasted reptile, and Grandmama was stirring something ominously bubbling in a cauldron at the far end of the table. "Ah, Tyler, my boy," Gomez greeted, spreading his arms wide. "You look well rested." "That's good. We must keep our strength up, Christmas is a battlefield." Tyler hesitated before sitting down. Yeah. About that." Morticia set down her goblet, fixing her knowing gaze on him. "You've made your decision, haven't you?" Tyler nodded. "I'm not inviting him." There was a moment of silence, and then Gomez sighed dramatically, pressing a hand to his chest. "Ah, my heart aches for the loss of a family reconciliation arc." Pugsley snorted. "You just wanted to see what would happen if he fainted at the dinner table." Gomez pointed a finger at him. "A fair accusation, mi hijo, but can you blame me?" Morticia, ever the voice of eerie elegance, gave Tyler a small smile. "You are wise, dear. Some bonds are not meant to be mended, and you need not burden yourself with expectations that were never yours to carry." Grandmama cackled from her corner. "Good riddance. I was going to slip something into his drink to loosen him up anyway." Tyler blinked. "Not sure if you mean alcohol or poison." "Yes," she said simply. Wednesday turned to him. "It's settled then. You will remain with us, and we will not be subjecting ourselves to unnecessary normal energy." Tyler couldn't help but smile. "Yeah. I think I'll survive." Just then, the distant sound of an engine rumbled from outside. Lurch's deep, slow voice echoed through the halls. "They have arrived." The Addams family gathered at the grand entrance of the mansion. The large double doors creaked open just as a black 19th-century Cadillac rolled to a stop at the foot of the grand staircase. The vehicle, with its polished chrome and elegantly Gothic details, looked as though it had driven straight out of a classic horror film. The driver stepped out first and, with a slow precision, opened the back door. From within, Calpurnia Addams emerged. She was stunning in the way all Addams women were, tall, elegant, and possessing an air of effortless superiority. Dressed in a deep emerald coat that swept behind her like a cape, her dark curls framed her sharp features. Her piercing green eyes flicked over the assembled family, her lips curving in amusement. "My dear relatives," she purred, stepping forward with the grace of a predator. "It has been too long." And then, from the car, a tiny hand gripped the edge of the door. A small girl climbed out, her dark curls bouncing slightly as she straightened herself. Calliope Addams, 5 years old and already exuding an eerie confidence, held her stuffed raven close to her chest. Her deep, assessing gaze swept over the family before she spoke in a crisp, high-pitched voice. "Where's the dead body?" "Mama said that someone was murdered in this house." Tyler, who had been silently observing, nearly choked on air. Grandmama cackled, clearly delighted by the child's enthusiasm. "Oh, he's right beside the Christmas tree. His name is Uncle Knick-Knack." Calliope's face lit up. "Isn't he the relative that didn't show up last year?" Gomez let out a hearty laugh, patting the little girl on the head. "Yes, turns out he was dead." "Would you like to see his skeletal remains, mi querida?" Calliope's eyes gleamed. "Yes, please." Wednesday watched the interaction in silent approval. But then, as Calliope turned her head, something else caught her attention. Her face lit up with an entirely new kind of excitement as she spotted the large, well-behaved lion sitting calmly beside Gomez. Her tiny mouth fell open in wonder. "Kitty!" With absolutely no hesitation, the small girl marched up to the lion, completely unafraid, and buried her face in its thick mane. The adolescent lion, used to the peculiar nature of the Addams children, simply rumbled in contentment. Tyler, standing beside Wednesday, watched the scene with wide eyes. "Was she always like this?" he asked quietly. Wednesday, arms crossed, observed her young niece calmly. "Calliope is an Addams. This is normal." The hide, silent until now, hummed in the back of Tyler's mind. "I like this kid." Tyler huffed, shaking his head. "Of course you do." Calpurnia finally turned to Wednesday, her sharp green eyes gleaming. "Cousin. It's been a while." Wednesday met her gaze. "Not long enough." Calpurnia smirked. "Oh, come now. I thought you'd be pleased to see me." "I am," Wednesday admitted, though her expression remained unreadable. "I simply dread whatever schemes you've devised in my absence." Calpurnia placed a hand over her heart, mock offended. "Wednesday, you wound me." Pugsley leaned in. "She's lying. She loves scheming." Calpurnia shot him a wicked grin. "That's because I'm good at it." Gomez clapped his hands together. "Ah, family. The bloodstained thread that binds us all." Morticia sighed with amusement, before extending her hands to Calpurnia. "Come, darling. Tell me everything." And just like that, the Addams family, strange, eccentric, and bound by their own peculiar brand of love, ushered Calpurnia and Calliope inside. Tyler followed, lingering for a moment at the threshold. He wasn't sure when, exactly, this had become his world. But as he watched Calliope climb onto the lion's back, Calpurnia dramatically recounts some dubious tale to Morticia, and Wednesday simply existing in her strange, brilliant way, he realized he wouldn't trade it for anything. Not even the father he left behind. The Addams family parlor was as eerie as ever, bathed in the flickering glow of the fireplace. Shadows danced along the walls, casting long, unsettling silhouettes of the room's macabre decor. Uncle Knick-Knack's skeletal remains sat in his grand throne beside the half-dead Christmas tree, a silent overseer to the evening's conversation. Calliope, cross-legged on the thick fur of the lion's mane, absent-mindedly stroked Kitty's massive head, her tiny fingers disappearing into its dark coat. She looked utterly at home, as if she'd been raised in this very room, her young mind absorbing the strange but unwavering loyalty of the Addams household. Calpurnia, lounging elegantly in an antique armchair, turned her sharp gaze toward Wednesday and Pugsley. "So, where exactly did you misplace Uncle Knick-Knack last year?" Pugsley smirked, jabbing a thumb toward Tyler. Tyler found him stuffed in the storage room. Right next to the catacombs. Calpurnia raised a perfectly sculpted brow and turned her attention to Tyler. A slow, knowing smile curled on her lips. "Tyler, do you plan to take up the Addams family name after you turn 18? Tyler, who had been half listening while eyeing Uncle Knick-Knack warily, stiffened. Before he could respond, the hide stirred in the back of his mind, intrigued. His voice rumbled from within, slipping past Tyler's lips, before he could stop it. "What do you mean? Are you saying I can change my surname to Addams? How does that work?" Calpurnia's smirk deepened. Some of the men who marry into this family change their surname before marrying in. It's not just tradition, it's practical. It ensures they are not seen as leeches, clinging to the prestige of the Addams name while offering nothing in return. More importantly, it shields them. Many do it to avoid scrutiny, to blend into the shadows of our legacy rather than be picked apart by opportunists. Grandmama let out a low chuckle, swirling the thick, steaming liquid in her goblet. Of course, just slapping Addams onto your name doesn't grant you instant protection, boy. She sipped delicately before continuing. There are social stipulations. We've had incidents in the past, men who thought they could marry an Addams, take the name, then discard it as they pleased. Thought they could divorce and still keep the power, as if our name was just some accessory. She leaned forward, her grin widening. They were mistaken. Tyler frowned. What happened to them? Morticia, always the image of eerie elegance, let her crimson lips curve into the ghost of a smile. They learned, darling. One way or another. Gomez clapped a hand on Tyler's shoulder, his grin warm but carrying a weight behind it. Mi hijo, taking the Addams name isn't just about legalities. It means something. It carries weight, history, and the expectation that you honor it. Tyler swallowed. And if I did change my name? What would that mean for Wednesday and me? Wednesday, silent until now, tilted her head, her gaze dark as obsidian. It would mean you are one of us. Not just by association, but by name, by legacy. It would mean you would never be rid of us, no matter what. The hide rumbled with satisfaction at that thought. Grandmama cackled, raising her goblet. But, boy, be warned. If you ever cross this family, betray an Addams, or, heaven forbid, attempt to use our name for your own gain, there will be no place in this world where you can hide. Tyler exhaled sharply. Noted. Calpurnia's expression turned amused, but there was something sharp in her gaze. Take my husband, for example. Tyler hesitated. What happened to him? Calpurnia's smile didn't falter as she delicately took a sip of her tea. Let's just say he was disheartened by the reality of joining this family. He thought he could use our name as a stepping stone for his success. That he could outmaneuver us. She traced a finger along the rim of her cup. Too bad for him. Now he's growling at my feet. Calliope, still nestled against the lion, giggled. Mama turned him into a dog. Tyler blinked. Wait. Literally? Calpurnia's smirk widened, and she set down her teacup. Figuratively. Mostly. Tyler wasn't sure if she was joking, and he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Gomez let out a hearty laugh, raising his own glass. Ah, the joys of family. Wednesday watched Tyler carefully. Are you afraid? Tyler met her gaze, something steady settling within him. No. The hide hummed approvingly in the back of his mind. Wednesday's lips barely twitched upward. Good. The cold moonlight bled through the massive arched window, illuminating the vast, snow-covered grounds of the Addams estate. Tyler sat on the window seat, his arms resting on his knees as he stared into the icy stillness beyond. The mansion behind him was silent, but inside his mind, there was no such peace. What's there to contemplate? We're changing our surname the day we turn 18. The hide's voice slithered into his thoughts, smooth and insistent. Don't tell me you're still concerned about that old man. Imagine the wedding invitations, the marriage of Tyler Addams and Wednesday Addams. And if our kid with Wednesday turns out to be a Hyde, at least it will be protected under the Addams name. Tyler's entire body tensed. What the hell are you talking about? Hyde let out an exaggerated sigh, almost as if exasperated by his other half's ignorance. What? You'd be a fool if you're thinking of breaking up with her, or, worse, not marrying her. Tyler ran a hand through his hair, trying to collect his thoughts. I'm not saying. If it weren't for her family's influence, we'd be rotting in a mental asylum right now, Hyde cut in sharply. Tyler's stomach twisted. He didn't need to be reminded. The memories were burned into him, the heavy chains, the cold steel of the transport vehicle, the way the USSPPO agents looked at him like he was nothing more than a rabid animal. Hyde pressed on, his voice dark and edged with something close to amusement. You remember how they arrested us? How they locked us up like some wild beast? Do you honestly think they would have treated you differently from other Hydes if you didn't have the Addams family, and Adele, fighting for you in that courtroom? Tyler exhaled sharply, his breath fogging up the window. Don't you love Wednesday? Hyde's voice softened, but the weight of the question struck deep. Tyler's fingers clenched into fists. Don't give me that. I know that I love her enough not to use her for my own personal means. Hyde growled, a low, simmering sound in the back of his mind. Who said anything about using her? Are you blind? Can't you see that she loves you? Why else would she be helping us? Tyler's chest tightened. She had fought for him, risked her own name, her own reputation, to stand by his side. Wednesday Addams, who trusted no one, had chosen him. Hyde's voice turned quiet, but no less forceful. This isn't just about you anymore. You're already one of them, whether you accept it or not. But you and I both know this world won't give you second chances. You want to survive? You want to have a future? Then take the name. Make it yours. Be an Addams. Tyler swallowed, his gaze locked on the snow-covered estate. It was a choice. Or maybe, it had never really been a choice at all. Because deep down, he already knew, he wasn't going anywhere. Like, comment and subscribe to be notified for updates in the series.